When I'm walking down the street.
I do want to say to Doni and many of you in this room that over a very long career in this city, all of you have helped me and my colleagues tell the truth and to try to tell.
I may not look like you and you me, but
Take my hat off.
I'm from South Carolina, so I just...
What does this event mean to you, Miss Peggy Morris?
Oh, my heart,
Happy 20th anniversary.
my heart is about loving up on my sisters. Do you know what it feels like to have your sisters in the room? John.
And dare to be different and unique. I'm gonna be the best me I can be by letting His glory shine through. I am beautiful, I am blessed, but not just what you see in the flesh. I'm free from people, free from myself. There's a
The doctor lived next door to the janitor to the reverend, and the lawyer. We were together. Now we get so high and mighty that you create stress for your society because you don't like poor black folks either. That's a health problem. Get yourself together so I can stop being taking care of geriatric people and get back to pediatrics. I thank you, Doni, for all you've done. Let's keep doing it all and more.
letting His glory shine through. Dare to be you, dare to be me, dare to be different and unique. I'm gonna be the best me I can be by letting His glory shine through. And I dare you, I dare you, I dare you to be you.
First name's Doni, last name's Glover. Entered the winner for the long haul, baby. Today's guest is April Williams. Kennedy Consulting Group assists companies and organizations with the management or creation of strategic plans to reach the small minority and women-owned business community through a custom and targeted engagement plan. Kennedy Consulting Group, or KCG, is a firm that believes in supporting small and local through the Entrepreneurious show, which highlights the launch and growth stories of local small businesses. Without further ado, we bring to our audiences the one, the only, April Williams. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. So honored. Thank you so much for having me on today. And yes, it is better to be seen and not viewed. Absolutely. Yes, sir.
Where you from, April?
Okay, so the short of it is I was born in Ohio. We lived in Tennessee for a little bit, and I spent most of my formidable years in Orlando, Florida. But I went to high school in Seattle, Washington. Yep.
Military?
Not military. Yeah, my stepmom actually worked for the government, and she got a job transfer out to Seattle. And my dad actually used to work for the church, work for our church. And so he just used to travel with Little Richard, actually, and sell those Black Heritage Bibles. I know, isn't that something? Yeah, he used to sell the Black Heritage Bibles when Little Richard, whose roots is actually in gospel music, my dad used to travel with him on the There Is No Secret tour, right? And sell the Bibles after the concerts or during the concerts. I remember because my brother and I were so small, they would sit both of us in the seat, the little seat together. Yeah, we used to go too sometimes.
So you grew up in the entertainment industry.
Well, my family is entertaining. I guess you could say that. Yeah, and my dad was definitely, especially my dad's side of the family, they're definitely very entertaining people. But yeah, he somehow built a relationship with Little Richard and had a chance to travel with him, and we knew Uncle Richard, as we called him. We knew him pretty well. Yeah.
What did you dream of? Did you dream of the Entrepreneurious show back then?
You know, back in the 80s when we were growing up, or late 70s, we got a chance to do a lot of dreaming because we were outside a lot. And so I really dreamed of being a writer. And guess what I am today? I'm a writer. That's what I spend most of my time doing is writing and creating content. And so From Tampa. Okay. So yeah, I dreamed of writing. I used to write short stories, and when my older brother Chris went into the army and he got stationed in Germany, I used to write him letters, and I loved writing. I loved creating things out of nothing, and that's what I do to this day. So that's what I dreamed of, and here I am, still dreaming.
Well, tell me the small business piece. Somewhere along the line, was
Mhm.
there an auntie? Was there an uncle? Was there a grandpop, a grandmom? Who was in business? Who was
Yeah.
the entrepreneur, April?
So that's actually a great question. So, my dad had a third grade education and used to work in the fields, the cotton fields in Pittsville, Alabama. And his dad, my grandfather, could not read or write. And so my father opened up a company. He opened up his own painting, contracting, construction company. And I remember seeing him networking with people, getting business cards. And he would bring those business cards home and he would call them. And then he would win work by doing that direct marketing, right? Because there was no internet in the 80s, there was no internet, nothing. And so I actually grew up in a community where you would have black people coming around, black men specifically in their pickup trucks, and they're selling fruit, or they might have a lawnmower and they're cutting grass. So my aunt, my aunt Bertha Lee, was the candy lady. She not only sold candy, but she also did hair in her home. She also took care of us as well. So she was enterprising as well too. And so there were several people in my community that became small business owners because they couldn't go the traditional route. They didn't have the education. They couldn't fill out the applications at X store, at Woolworths or Montgomery Wards. They didn't have that high school degree in order to be able to progress in the quote unquote normal, right? So lots of landscapers. I knew lots of landscapers. And so that's why it's so interesting to me now that I see very few black owned companies that are doing landscaping. That's what I grew up seeing. Lots of landscapers, people with lawnmowers on the back of their trucks. And so,
So, so look, April, what I'm hearing you say is that it didn't matter where you lived.
no,
Your father was, in essence, Black Wall Street.
absolutely. He was Black Wall Street. He created it because that's what he had to do. And even though I didn't enjoy it, my brother and I didn't enjoy it, we would have to be on those sites too, those construction sites. And we would have to paint and we would have to prime and all that good stuff. And so I saw that getting up at 6 o'clock during the summer and having to go to these job sites and getting to know these people, even though he didn't have the traditional things that you would think a person would need in order to be able to succeed. And yet somehow, but it wasn't easy. The job was plentiful.
If I could just jump in, he was getting these business cards, but you said he had a third grade education.
Yep. Yeah. Because during the
Could
time,
he read the cards?
he could read the cards. He could read the cards, and we would sometimes help him as well too. He was very good with math. He was very good with math, but couldn't.
Well, he got them numbers. He knew his numbers.
Absolutely, he knew the numbers. He could do it quicker than I could, right? Or any of my siblings. So yeah, he read the cards and remembered the people's names, even though he might not be able to read another card, but he can read the numbers. He can read the phone number.
He must have had his own system. So let me ask you this.
Right.
As you talk about how it was for Black people navigating in the 80s, how with a third grade education, your father was nonetheless enterprising.
Nonetheless.
In different parts of the country.
Different parts.
It makes me think of the returning citizen today.
Right.
That's who I think of. quite often undereducated,
Mm-hmm.
but knows how to hustle
Mm-hmm.
often.
Mm-hmm.
It may come in a different form, but it's the same game today.
It's the same. We just have different avenues. Yeah, we didn't have online then to promote ourselves. We didn't have an Instagram or, whatever, or Facebook to be able to say, hey, this is what I do. Right. And, you even look back at the turn of the century, right, when things were moving towards industrialism and Black folks started to have an opportunity to own their businesses. What type of businesses did they start? They started hair salons, barbershops, because they were doing that already for people that they were owned by. I don't want to say worked for, because when you say worked for, that constitutes a salary, a payment, right? So they were allowed to.
They were kidnapped.
I mean, clearly, right? But still, built Black Wall Street, and we know what, and that wasn't just Tulsa, right? That was all over Rosewood in Florida. So many different communities that were being built up because of what you said. It's the same. It's the same today. You see young people, t-shirt businesses, and really, if you think about it, the individuals who used to sell weed and marijuana back when it was criminalized, and I guess it still is criminalized for certain groups, Black and brown people, right? They created the marketing structure for that, for the people who are now coming to the state of Maryland to be certified to sell what? Weed.
I went into a dispensary, it was all white boys behind the counter, all Black people buying. And I said to myself, why aren't there any Black store owners?
That's right. And I know that there is a push for that. But
why? I mean, are you really going to do this in 2023? We have a Black governor. We got a Black mayor. We have Blacks in every possible position. You mean I got a white boy selling me weed?
And he's not in jail for it? Come on.
And he's not in jail?
He's not in jail. He's not in jail.
And you got Black people locked up for this?
You have black and brown people locked up for selling.
The United States of hypocrisy.
United States of hypocrisy. It's so unfortunate, because I remember when I was working for the state of Maryland and served on the Minority Business Enterprise Advisory Committee for companies that wanted to be certified, right? We had entities coming in then, back in 2012, back in 2013, to be certified so that they could sell weed. You call it cannabis if you want to. If you dress it up, it's weed, right? It's going to get you high, is what medicinal purposes, is still going to get you high, right? It's weed. It's what Tyrone and them were selling on the corner when they got picked up and cuffed and frisked. Right.
And
so
criminalized and given a record and had to go to court and had probation and still got it on their jacket today.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And
then same thing.
It's the same thing, but it's crack versus cocaine.
Pharmaceutical companies are bigger drug dealers than the drug dealers.
Absolutely.
Go messing with Big Pharma, watch him knock on your door.
Absolutely. They might not even knock. Yep. So like you said, it's the same. The enterprising back then that my father, who was born in 1936, had to do is the same, right? It's just now people have a little bit more education. I'm doing the same thing. I happen to have a master's degree doing it, but I don't need a master's degree to do it, clearly.
Is your dad with us?
He's not. Passed away in 2012.
What is his legacy?
Well, I mean, I stand on their shoulders, clearly. And all of, the people in my family that I never met, because life was rough. Life was hard back then. Same on my mother's side, probably same in your family. It was tough, right? The manual labor, it can wear your body down, and your mental, health. It can wear you down. And so you check out early. You check out in your 50s and you check out in your 60s,
Well,
unfortunately.
I tell you, April, I'm always warmed when I hear a Black woman speaking highly of her dad.
Well, it was not easy, obviously. And you have your highs and your lows. But you look to take everything that you possibly can and to roll it up and put it in a pan and bake it and hope that it all comes out, well. But I get my spirit, I get my enterprising spirit and abilities. Well, I get my abilities from God, but you grow up seeing this person working hard and people in your community, your church and your neighbors, right? And we spent actually about a good 10 years living in the Ivy Lane projects. And it's
Where is
amazing.
that?
That's in Orlando, Florida, Ivy Lane. That's in Orlando. So people think Orlando, they think Disney, and we have projects in Orlando, and so we spent some time, a good 10 years. My mom and my brother and I spent some time living there, and honestly, that's where we really started to excel in school, in the arts. I was in everything. I was in band. I was in choir. I played football. I played volleyball. I was in everything that I could do. I took the activity bus home, the late bus, right? So pretty much every day. So I'm doing the same. I'm the same. I just happen to own my own business or two now. So because of that background, right?
We couldn't imagine you doing anything else. Tell me about Kennedy Consulting Group. How did KCG come about?
Well, Kennedy Consulting Group initially started back in 2009, 2010. And I transitioned out of 9 to 5 work to actually start consulting with a marketing PR firm that's based out on the West Coast. And Rushing Media is a great company that I started working for. And she said something, the owner, whose name is also April, she said, I see you in PR. Would you want to start an East Coast division of Rushing Media in the DMV area? And I said, you know what? That actually sounds like a really good idea, because I had not had the idea for Kennedy Consulting Group. And actually, I started out first as a talent booking agency called Capital Talent Booking. And then I quickly realized that if you're not booking the Michelle Obamas or the Barack Obamas, at the time, or the Oprah Winfrey's, then the money is not going to be, and it's going to take a while for you to build it up. So I spent that year working with her company. And then I said to myself, well, you know what, if I'm doing this for her, then I can start my own. And that's what I started doing.
Say that again. Come on, somebody needs to hear that. Come on, one more time, April.
Yes, if I'm working for this other company and doing well and helping them business development, bring on new clients, then I can do that for myself. And it's what I know as well. I grew up seeing it. It's what I know. And so Kennedy Consulting Group started.
Matter of fact, if you aren't doing it for yourself, me, given our background, shame on us.
Shame on us.
Because if you don't build your dreams, someone will hire you to build theirs.
Someone will hire you to build theirs, right? And as Black people, we are enterprising naturally. We are brown people, indigenous people. We are enterprising. It is ingrained within us.
Was this lady out west, was she white?
She was not.
Was she Black?
Yes.
Still doesn't matter. You still had to do it for yourself because you were born a boss.
That sounds like a t-shirt and a book. Born a boss. Absolutely. And you find out sometimes the hard way. You do. You find out the hard way. But Kennedy Consulting Group was in business, and the first person who really took the time and took the interest in my company. And first, let me just give a shout out to the Department of Assessments and Taxation, the Black lady who helped me I cannot remember her name because it was so long ago. It was 2010 or 2009 when I went in. The one in Baltimore. This is
State
when
Center.
State Center. Absolutely. When I went to go file my paperwork. And because that's when we didn't have all the online portals together. And so I drove out there to file my paperwork. And this sister, I had checked on the name Kennedy Consulting, right? Because Kennedy actually is my mother's maiden name. And so I said, okay, I think I'm going to use Kennedy Consulting. I checked. And I think 2 weeks later, I went to SDAT and to file the paperwork. And she said, baby, I'm so sorry. Kennedy Consulting is taken. And I was like, oh no, right? And she said, why don't you add group on the end of it? And I said, oh, okay, KCG, it's in threes. That's better for marketing anyways. So I want to thank her, whoever she was, and God bless her. But when I first started the company, I actually reached out to the Governor's Office of Minority Affairs, which is now Governor's Office of Small and Women Business Affairs, where Sharon Jackson was the outreach manager. And I reached out to her because I said, I saw that you just had this MBE University conference. It had really just gotten started. This was under the O'Malley Brown administration. And I said, I believe my company can support you with this. We were doing communications and events. And she basically said yes. And so Robert Wallace was actually one of my first clients. And he was like, whenever you need to use my name, sis, it's fine. We're a part of the same church. And he knows I do good work. And I used his name. And I said, well, Robert Wallace was my first client. She said, oh, you know, Robert. And Sharon Jackson and I, we are still tight to this day. We still support each other. We still get together for lunch.
What about Robert Wallace? Are you still good with him?
Well, absolutely. I see him at church from time to time. Now, you know, he travels a lot, so it's hard to catch up with him, but absolutely, he and his family, you know, still close with them and still appreciate the support that he provided. But Sharon Jackson, in regards to the company, she was retiring from the state or leaving the state of Maryland and going back to Prince George's County. And she recommended me to take over her political appointment with GOMA at the time, the Governor's Office of
Sharon Pender.
This was Sharon Jackson.
This was after Sharon Pender.
Well, Sharon Jackson was, so at the time, it was that she was there. Well, Sharon was there. Was she there under Sharon Pender? I know, no, she was there under.
Pender was there under O'Malley. I think she left when under Early. I think she left when O'Malley came in.
And then it was LaWanda Jenkins, and then Zanita Hurley. So Sharon was there under LaWanda and Zanita Wickham Hurley, and I came in under Hurley, even though I know Sharon Pender as well as LaWanda Jenkins, but I came in under Wickham Hurley, and she recommended me to take over her position. This is after I've been in business for 5 years, and the first 5 years, I mean, this was around 2009. You know, the whole financial structure had collapsed. And so I had to do everything that I can, you know, to bring on business. And Sharon, the Governor's Office, was my biggest client because of Sharon Jackson. And it takes a Sharon Jackson. It takes a Robert Wallace. And that's why it's so important to have people of color in these positions, because unfortunately, other individuals do not know what our plights are. They don't understand. Right? How you
should understand, because a lot of them created the situations to keep it that way.
And it's unfortunate that even though, yes, we've made some strides, there are still small businesses, diverse companies on Main Street that are still not getting government contracting opportunities because.
But you know what? It's our fault, because if we keep putting Black people in position where they can help other Black people and they don't, shame on us. It's time to call those people out. And another election is coming around, and after that there'll be another one. And we, the Black people in Baltimore and Prince George's and other enclaves around the state, we will choose who's in that position. And so if we put in another person,
right,
one more person, I don't care if it's U.S. Senate, if it's governor, if it's mayor, one more person who doesn't understand that to whom much is given, much is required, shame on us for putting the bums in there.
It's unfortunate, right? And it's unfortunate that it's pay to
See,
play.
white people look out for each other, April. I've seen it. They create jobs for each other. What
Yep.
do? I'm worried that you're going to make a few dollars more than me. And so I'm not going to tell you about this opportunity around there. I
Yeah.
got people in other states that send me more business and more
Yeah.
information than people in my own city.
Yeah. Listen, we don't do that. We are actually responding
We
to
don't need those
right now.
knee-jerk Negroes anymore. Their time
No,
is up.
absolutely. And it's so unfortunate because, when the way I think about business, I think about it from a herd mentality, right? Is that if I make a kill, then and you're on my team, then we all eat, right? You may not necessarily
Their
get it.
Negroes don't want you to buy a bigger Louis Vuitton purse than they got
Yeah, it's unfortunate. But you know
over
what?
silly stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I
And
have
meanwhile, the white
opposite.
boys are getting multi-billion-dollar contracts
Multi-billion.
using government, Democrat or Republican, to open
Yep.
up wind and windmill plants and solar plants and
Yep.
nuclear plants, and we busy fighting over scraps.
Yeah, it is unfortunate.
See,
I've had a different experience.
let me just get one. It doesn't matter if you got 10 black presidents. If you haven't parlayed that in the business, then you should just quit and go home. If your politics isn't bringing money back to your community,
Yep.
you should just pack up, go home, and never vote again. But you got these loyal black Democrats. Oh, I'm with the Democrats. Oh, I'm with the Democrats. And your neighborhood looks just like it did 30 years ago. Then you're wasting your vote and you're not being accountable to God.
No, I mean, absolutely. And I take into account
Oh, you got me
that,
on a roll this morning.
listen, I take into account the fact that everybody's dealing with a lot, and giving people extreme grace, right? But
They've
but
been
when
in the
I
positions long enough, April.
they've been in positions long enough, and when I advocate for everyone. I advocate for all, and you're right. I look at even our Asian brothers and sisters, our Hispanic brothers and sisters, and the way that they're able to come together. Now, they don't necessarily have the backgrounds that we have, right? I look at the indigenous people; they're not even a lot of times included in the business demographics because there's so few of them.
But they got casinos. New York, upstate New York, they got casinos.
But
Out
they
west,
still,
they got casinos.
right? They
Where
still
are
have
our reparations?
back.
Where are our reparations?
Yeah.
And or are our leaders too busy trying to be white, trying to be accepted in the white world,
Mhm.
than to look out for their own brother down the street? A lot of us, we still caught up. We think the white man's ice is colder. We do. We don't love ourselves.
Yeah, it's still
Psychologically frustrating. Franz Fanon wrote about it. I am so sorry, April. You have got me mad this morning. I
no.
think about all that we have done politically. We
Yeah.
put in all of these governors, all of these mayors, all of these state senators, only to get black people in these positions who look down their nose at you. Oh, well, see my secretary. We even got it on the black college campus. We talk all of this mess about HBCUs. Some of them black professors need to be taken out back and put a foot in their ass because they don't know their damn job.
Yeah, it's a problem. I mean,
You got people who should have been had their degrees, but you
Right.
got some black person want to feel special
mm-mm.
on a black college campus. Go figure. That's why we got to have our own. And your daddy with a third grade education understood that. And the people around him, because he had created his own Black Wall Street from what you've told me.
Yeah, I mean, still, he wasn't allowed, large contracts and the small contracts that he was able to receive. Because when you think about the GI Bill, even right, that's what built the white middle class. The white middle class was built upon those returning soldiers on the GI Bill, and the black soldiers that were returning. No, not so
Who
much.
fought the damn war.
Who fought the same war. right? And who died just like, the other soldiers died. And so, when you think about the disparities, which is
I
why,
think it's stealing. It's straight out stealing and
well,
lying and stealing. It ain't disparity. A
no,
thief is a thief. The
absolutely,
Freedmen's Bank. Remember the Freedmen's Bank? Right
absolutely.
after slavery had ended, this is a bank for black people.
Mhm.
Here's your money.
Yep,
Thieves, you lied and you stole. Just like
yep,
the Homestead Act to go out west and to get land.
right, right, yep. That was,
Nobody's been through what we've been through. And so the
yeah,
level of trauma is way up there. But that's why blacks who are in position,
yeah,
you are expected to look out for your own people. And if you don't, we're going to deal with you sooner or later.
yeah. Well, I can
And
tell
don't
you.
call me to speak at the funeral because I'm going to tell the truth. He ain't do nothing for black people.
Listen, don't do that to him. But I mean, I can tell you
Yes.
the
It's,
reason.
we got to stop living this lie.
No, I mean,
Oh, he looked out for his damn self. That's who he looked out for.
yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate. I can tell you as a company that we don't operate that way. The RFP that we're in the process of responding to in Prince George's County, we have a team of all women, and we're all black. And I pulled all of us together because I know these companies, how we pay for our mortgages, how we put gas in our car, how we put food on the table is through contracts and opportunities. And I don't like the word disadvantaged, right? We've been using that word for a long time. Disadvantaged businesses, disadvantaged communities. Let's think about what the term disadvantage actually is, and where it came from. Disadvantagement came from being disinvested, right? Came from stealing our land, money from Freedmen's Bank, right? Money after
We
riots.
got stuck up.
Absolutely. We got stuck up, and and the thing is that when we were building our financial wealth in our communities, there were riots in the streets,
And
and
they
people
bombed us from the air.
bombed us from the air, and people got shot up, and still there's legacies of people who still have not recovered. And what the developers say is that I am not going to reinvest in this community because they burned it down. So
That's the excuse.
that's the excuse,
When
right?
you
But then
created the conditions for the burn down from jump.
absolutely, you created the conditions for it. And
You were
so
jealous that these black people built 36 square blocks of black
absolutely,
businesses without you.
without you, and that you're not getting a piece of that pie, right? That's the big thing. So we can use the term disadvantage business or disadvantaged community, but it's really because there is a lack of investment and a lack of what we are owed, right? So let's just be clear, but let's think about how we dig ourselves out of this. And it goes back to what you were saying, right? That we must support one another first. We have to. That I have a friend who owns a company, and she helps black people and more individuals, all communities, become healthier and reduce diabetes and et cetera. Her name is Helen Stoddard. And I've been talking with her, and I said, listen, you have all these products that people will purchase. And so she went about doing that. And so she opened up her shop. And so yesterday I went and purchased some of her items. I went to purchase some of her items because not only is she a sister, but she is in business, right? You can't grow your business just off of my prayers. Prayer is about action. You get up off your knees and you go do, right? You ask God to give you the strength so that you can go do. So prayer is about action. So I got up and I purchased her products. And I wasn't like $22 for a dozen of, lower in sugar cookies. I can't believe it, right? If I am looking at her prices and saying, oh, it's too expensive, but then I go to Macy's or I go to wherever and I purchase their products and I don't question
And
that
they're not even on sale.
they're not even on sale. And I don't shop at Macy's. But anyways, anywhere, you may go Target, wherever you are purchasing products like Tabitha Brown. When Tabitha Brown was in Target, you could not find her stuff on the shelves. You couldn't find it. I have a lot of her items here, right? So
Why couldn't you find it on the shelves? It's sold out.
absolutely, because we were supporting her, but her items were in Target. So you know who else is getting a part of that money? Target, right? But when you have your own, I can buy from you directly, right? I have my, which is why we created the Entrepreneurious series to
What is
highlight our own.
we have not even touched that.
We haven't.
Tell them what the series is.
So Entrepreneurious is a
Matter of
series.
fact, I'm gonna give you the whole screen. You tell them about
Okay.
Entrepreneurious.
Yeah, so Entrepreneurious is a series that chronicles the launch and growth journeys of small businesses. And it's unfortunate that, you know, I look at so many entities that are responsible for helping to highlight small businesses. They're doing the same thing over and over again, right? But digital engagement is where it is. So Entrepreneurious just recently launched back in August. And we started by interviewing Dexter Fields, who owns Millennium Salon. It's a Black-owned barbershop not for men and women, in Silver Spring, Maryland. And then we actually interviewed Alicia Valencia Herb, who owns Vita Style Shop. We interviewed Vita Ali, who is the co-founder with her late husband Ben Ali of Ben's Chili Bowl. Our last interview that we did was in the Baltimore Washington International Airport in Terminal C. We interviewed Tisha Skinner, who owns the only the Rita's Ice inside of any airport in the world. And it is Black woman owned. And so this holiday season, when you are traveling out of the Baltimore Washington International Airport, you go to Terminal C and get Rita's and coffee, or you can go to Terminal D14 where she owns the Smoothie King. Now, I have supported both of those entities, and I just felt like it was time to do more than just events and trainings, that it's an opportunity to give these businesses a chance to tell their stories. And, you know, the government entities haven't done it. We can't wait for them. You know, they unfortunately are stuck and really focused on some of the same type of I guess engagement or outreach tactics that they've been using for a long time. And God bless them. I was there as well too. And I was able to kind of update some of their outreach and engagement strategies. But this Entrepreneurious series, we just wrapped up season 1, and we have interviewed Black owned businesses, Hispanic owned. We have interviewed LGBTQ owned, because for me, that's really what it should be. We shouldn't have to just say, let's support white owned, let's support only Asian owned, let's support Black owned. We should be supporting one another because we are human beings. But because there is a lack of fairness, we have mostly decided to support the small businesses on Main Street, number one, but also the businesses that are diverse, right? The diverse companies and the LGBTQ owned companies as well too. They get a bad rap, and it's unfortunate that we look at individuals who have a certain lifestyle or way of life, and we say, well, I can't support them because of, well, they're still at the end of the day a human being. And I can tell you, the company that we interviewed, A Friendly Bread, they have great products that are sold in Giant Foods as well as the Fresh Market. Those are locally owned products. We should be willing to support locally owned. We should not have to say, well, they're Black business and I don't want to support them, or they're Asian owned and I don't want to support them. It's ridiculous. It's a business that's in your community. And when your community does better, everybody does better. So Entrepreneurious is an idea that I've had for a good while, and I decided to get started, and we'll perfect it later. Right. We're looking for partners to help, sponsor what we're looking to do. We're going to be partnering with the Black owned production company. Hopefully next season we get our funding coming through. But the businesses need a chance to tell their stories.
When is your schedule for Entrepreneurious?
So we really take a look at where we are and and that's when we decide. So, for example, the travel season is coming. So, the next episode that we're going to push out is going to be the Ritas because people are going to be in the airport. Playoff season is coming. Football, basketball season is here. And so then we are going to push out the one for the DC Shy Pie, which is owned by Grant Thompson. The DC Shy Pie is deep dish pizza, and it is absolutely delicious. And so we're going to push out his episode. The shopping season is coming. And so we're going to push out the episode
How many
for Black
seasons
Pepper
are there?
Papers in DC. Listen, I started out just wanting
Every
to
season is a season, huh?
well, no, listen, we only have one season, but we ended up recording 8 episodes. But it started out, I was just going to do 5 mini episodes for Black Business Month. And when I sat down with Virginia in August, yes. But when I sat down with Dexter Fields and when I sat down with Virginia Ali, who marched on Washington, who entertained Dr. King, right? And I realized that I couldn't do many episodes, that it had to be an actual full-blown show. I couldn't cut down the wisdom that these individuals were saying. So it turned into a whole season that honestly, I just recorded on my iPhone. You wouldn't know it, but that iPhone camera is amazing. Yeah. So we got started and we're in the process. And that's one of the things that I really want to encourage anyone who is looking to launch a business or launch anything, that you don't need to have everything in order to get started.
I like what you said, April, about start where you are. A lot of times we feel like I gotta wait for this perfect time.
That's it. Or you gotta wait
for business, to get married, for this, for that. And by the time you look up, it's 20 years.
That's right.
And so you're waiting on the perfect situation. Yeah. Make it perfect.
Absolutely. Right. So just start where you are. And I promise you.
Booker T. Washington said that. Cast down your buckets where you at.
Start where you are.
We're busy supporting other people, making these companies wealthy. Yep. They don't even like us.
No, they don't. They don't want us wearing their clothes.
I don't want to wear. I want to go where I'm celebrated, not where I'm tolerated, and certainly not where I'm pimped.
Absolutely. Yep. Look at what is it? Yeezy. What does he call himself now? And is it Reebok that own the shoes? Right? They lamented that they got rid of him, right? Because he was making them so much money, right? And so I say, I see all this negative content that's out there. Let me put out my own. And people can talk about Jada and Will till they're blue in the face, or Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. I'm not saying I don't care about those people. I don't know them. I would rather support someone that I can see every week that's in my community, that I see their kids, right? Or I see them at church.
So I got to ask you, April, do you do any events?
Do we plan events or do
No. I just can't imagine. Where's the Entrepreneurious event?
The Entrepreneurious event. I mean, listen, we're just getting started. We just started in August.
I think you need an event. I think, when is Entrepreneurious?
Listen, you speak it into existence. Speak it as if it were. So 2024 is going to be, we still haven't done like an official launch event.
When is that event? You have to come back here so it'll be probably in the DC area.
It'll be in the DMV. That's for sure. Yeah. And we may actually do it come to think of it, we may do it at the 3rd. The 3rd is actually, we interviewed Laura Bacon on the 3rd. The 3rd is located in Columbia. Oh. So it is in between, right? DC, Baltimore, right? If you're coming from Virginia, you can get there. But the 3rd is a co-working space for women of color. And it's more than a co-working space, really. But I'm just going to.
Are you a member there?
I am a member of the 3rd. It's owned by a Black woman. And I interviewed her. Her episode is airing right now on Entrepreneurious. The 3rd episode.
We have to bring these Black Wall Street Awards to the 3rd. We have to schedule a ceremony there in Columbia, in Howard County.
No, absolutely. And what Laura Bacon and her team, and they have a chef there. Her name is Chef Jamila, doing what these women are doing. It's just incredible, right? So I would rather put my money in the organization like that rather than a chamber.
I got to share this with you. You didn't mean a black chamber. So look, last week I'm on this call. It was mostly black tech people.
Mm-hmm.
And they said in the digital space how black men are outperforming black women. And I still find it hard to digest that because I've only seen, not only, but I've seen a lot of dynamic black women succeeding in this space. Now, I don't know if it's that I know a lot of successful black women.
Probably.
But I don't see the dudes outperforming the women. But they say, according to the stats, that black men are outperforming. And it's not much, might be 55-45 or 53-47. And so it just reminded me of having a daughter, having 3 granddaughters. I always want the women in my family to get theirs.
That's right.
They put out the effort. I think they should get the same, if not more, than the men. But I'm learning that there are, because so often in the black community, the black man is being locked up.
Right. Generations of them. Right. But when you think about.
So I'm glad to hear about this place in Columbia.
In Columbia. Yeah. The third. I highly recommend people to, especially women of color, to check it out. And it's the diaspora. Right. You have all women of color from various backgrounds. And I love, and it's located right there on the lake, right there by the Columbia Mall. And it's nestled in the community. And I really love what Laura said during our interview is that she did not want to have this business that she was creating be in a strip mall somewhere or back in the corner somewhere. She wanted it to be in a beautiful space because women of color deserve that. Right. So it goes along with what you were saying, right? Oftentimes we are hushed and silenced. And when we're in the workplace, we're not paid as much. So it does make sense that black men's content or men's content in general is outpacing ours because that happens also in other areas. I can tell you honestly, when I work.
It's just that when I look around the black community
in
Baltimore, I see the exact opposite. I see the women working and too many brothers in the cycle of recidivism.
Right.
Or drug or addiction.
Right.
Or unemployment or undereducation. I guess maybe I shouldn't be in Baltimore.
Well, no, Baltimore is just different. Right. You're surrounded by
bike lanes. You got white people who make you feel unwelcome in your own damn city.
Well, that's the same thing that's happening in DC. For years, I traveled down New York Avenue and there was no revitalization. Once they moved out the African Americans that had been living in those communities for decades, and many of them born in their homes, right? They moved out older people. They moved out younger people. They moved out kids so that this area could now have a Target. It could now have a Petco. It could
you couldn't put it there before.
No.
See, that's why America won't be blessed, because racist people think you can bless this situation and not bless that situation, and then have the audacity to talk to Almighty God. Go sit down, little boy.
Well, it's unfortunate. I'm in DC a lot, and I can see,
it don't work like that.
Yeah, communities that used to be all chocolate. DC used to be chocolate city. It is. I don't cafe au lait. It's butterscotch. Now it's definitely not chocolate city anymore. But I do want to say that mayor is doing some pretty innovative things to help support disinvested businesses. right? And so that is definitely a good thing. But yeah, Entrepreneurious, we are moving forward. And no, we don't have all the resources that we need. And we don't have the generational wealth, right? We don't have the
Yes, we
angel
do. Yes,
investors.
we do, April. Yes, we do.
We do. You're right. You're right. Let
You're
me stop
talking
saying
about your daddy.
you're right.
Your daddy lives in you.
That's right.
And we spread that word. We
You're right.
definitely have generational wealth.
We do have the generational wealth. Thank you for that. You're absolutely right. I'm thinking necessarily because it's not just money. It's not just monetary. You're absolutely right.
Harriet Tubman was going through them woods. She had to know that the moss is on the north side of the tree.
That's it.
And she got to pass it on to the next conductor of the Underground Railroad.
That's right. That is generational wealth. You're absolutely, absolutely right. I mean,
or our communication. You ever notice how we can go down the street?
Yep.
And you see another black person, be a million white people around. We give one look or
That's
no
right.
look at all. And
Right.
it's communication.
It's communication. That's right. That's right. Yeah.
Don't go that way.
Don't go that way. Look at what what we're doing. And that's what I really want Entrepreneurious to be able to do. And a couple people asked me, is there a charge for this? It's like, no, we're not charging the businesses to be on. No.
Maybe you should.
No. We'll never charge the small businesses to be a part. I know that there's a lot of people who do that. But no, we would rather get a grant or have an angel investor.
Don't turn down the money though. If somebody's offering,
I mean, obviously, if someone wants to donate, sure, but no, we don't.
Well,
we don't.
That's important.
Absolutely, yeah. If they would like to donate, then sure. If they're a business,
you mentioned the same church. You have not because you asked not, right?
That's right.
I was following this lady in London, and she had this buy me a coffee thing. And I said, well, let me try my hand at buy me a coffee. We do an Emmy-nominated show. Maybe somebody will buy me a coffee. She didn't have an Emmy nomination. And so you never know what we might learn. This thing right here, buymeacoffee.com. Maybe you can add it to your show.
No, listen, I think that's a great idea. I mean,
and we have to, for those of us who believe, we have to manifest the word in our businesses.
We absolutely have to.
We have to give back. We have to tithe. We have to help.
That's right.
Smaller businesses who haven't been as fortunate as us. We have to open doors. Right. And we have to teach the people that we open the doors for to hold the door for the people behind them.
That's right. To lift as we climb. And that's what this show is doing. Right.
Great job, April.
We're looking to charge the people that have the deep pockets, but no, we're not going to turn down any donations.
Everybody can contribute. You grew up in a family business. You had a job before you knew what a job was.
Absolutely. I had a job before FICA and Uncle Sam and them, before I even knew.
You helped Daddy. You carried the chairs. You opened the doors. You opened the whatever. You played a part in that. That's ownership. It. And that's what we got to teach our children.
That's what we have to teach them. And anyone who runs across this show on YouTube, I hope that it provides inspiration for them, because we all need it on those days where we're like, I feel like closing down, or I feel like going to work for somebody else because it seems easier, but I can tell you it's not.
April, I don't plug my businesses or books as much as I could. This is I Am Black Wall Street.
Yep.
It's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble. This is my first book, 2015.
Oh, wonderful.
Unapologetically Black. This speaks about the interrelationship of politics and economics, that if our politics isn't bringing money back to the Black community, then we might as well not vote at all.
That's saying a lot.
If your politics are not bringing back dollars to your community, if you don't have a new recreation center, a new school, but you got Kevin Hart pushing gambling commercials on your television, then you're upside down politically.
It's backwards. Yeah, it's back. It's the smoke and mirrors, right? Let's distract with this over here so that, they don't realize that we're giving money to all of these. And there are so many companies that are happy when they see war happening, when they see all the wars, because that means their companies are going to blow up, millions and millions of dollars of contracts. The
We
contractors.
watched during George Bush, Halliburton get billions of dollars in contracts unaccounted for. Right now, they're giving Ukraine $100 billion. Time out. I know some people for $1 billion would take care of that situation. Where that other 99 billion going to?
It's a lot of money. And the thing is that it's our money.
All of that money? My money? My tax dollar?
Yep. When I think about state contracting and
Slim, I don't trust you. You've been lying and stealing from my community forever. 100 billion, I do not trust you with that kind of money. Your track record is piss poor.
Yep. And it's our money. You think about it, it's
but they want us dancing to a hip-hop show. They're gonna invite D-Nice, LL Cool J, and we get to dancing, drinking, eating watermelon and some fried chicken, and you totally slept. $100 billion. That's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
But you're telling me you can't fix the 11 schools in Baltimore that don't have air conditioning or heat. That's what you're telling me.
Listen, and we love D-Nice and LL, and I love watermelon and fried
chicken. They have their place.
They
not in politics, not telling me who to vote for. We need new schools. We need new streets. Have you seen these streets? Have you seen the potholes in the streets?
Oh, Baltimore is a struggle. Going down 295, oh, your front end is. But the thing is that it's been like that for so long.
Well, don't get in office if you're going to tell me that, because I don't need to hear. I know it's been like that. You telling me you can do something else.
How come it cannot be fixed? How is it that these young people still in these schools still don't have proper heat, don't have proper access to water, don't have proper, air conditioning? How is it that not fixed? We're still paying our taxes. Where's the money going? Where's it going? Where's it going?
Entrepreneurious. April, this has truly been a pleasure. How can people get in touch with you? I'm going to give you the screen. Go ahead, plug your business and how people can get in touch with you. Just when you're done, you got to say good morning, world, and then the show will be over, okay?
All right. Sounds good. Well,
yeah, look right into the camera because we got people out there watching. Good morning, world.
Good morning, world. Okay, I got you. All right. Well, Doni, thank you so much for having me on, and thank you so much for your hard work. But you can find me on LinkedIn, April Williams. You can find me. You see what I look like. You can also find the Entrepreneurious show on YouTube. That is Entrepreneurious. And you can find us also on, it's at the bottom of your screen. And you can find us on Instagram as well. So find us there, and good morning, world. I hope I did that right.